Remember that you are the hero to your stories. The moment you will understand that all is in your hand, the moment you will understand that you can write your future the way you would want to, you would give a lot of power to yourself. So when you're asking yourself those questions, just understand how much power you're giving to yourself.
Welcome to the show Finding Meaning at Work. I'm your host Abhinav Gupta. I'm a counseling psychologist and a career coach. I'm your career partner in this journey. And I will give you some quick, easy, actionable tools every week so you can help yourself find meaning and purpose around your work. Some days we'll have expert guests from various walks of life, and the other days you and I will connect for a more meaningful discussion. More on this in the show. Remember, it's all about you. Hello and welcome to yet another show for Finding Meaning at Work. This is episode number 4, and today our topic is around creative art. You see, guys, creating art is an innate and defining feature of the human species that has been evident since the earliest stages of human life. Perhaps unsurprisingly, this deeply entrenched connection to art and visual imagery can help people express themselves and identify what they want in life. And today, as I said, we are exploring creative art and how creative art helps in finding meaningful career. So in order to talk more about this, I have a guest, and her name is Srayasi Ghosh. So Srayasi Ghosh, a very warm welcome to our show.
Thank you, Abhinav.
Let me introduce you guys to Srayasi Ghosh. So Srayasi Ghosh is a passionate industrial organizational psychologist. She's specialized in organizational and environmental psychology. And she's been actively involved with the organizational behavior field for nearly 4 years. Is that correct, Srayasi?
Absolutely.
Thank you. She's also worked with international logistics and supply chain industry, and she's currently working with an international HR consulting firm. Besides that, she has many feathers in her cap. So she's also a practitioner of Meditative Art Therapy. Srayasi and I have done NLP together. So I know her since we did NLP back in 2020. So she's also a certified NLP business practitioner as well. She's also an emotional intelligence specialist. And she's also trained in transactional analysis and POSH. A very warm welcome, Srayasi, on the show, Finding Meaning at Work.
Thank you so much, Abhinav, and thank you for that amazing introduction which you've given.
Sure, you deserve it. All right, Srayasi, so you're the expert in the house today, and you'll take us through, tell us more about what is creative art and how it can help. I'm just curious to understand from you, what interested you in the field of psychology? Why did you choose it?
So, I personally believe that human beings are the most interesting subjects to study about. And that was the reason why I got so attracted to psychology, that each of us are different in our own ways, right? All of us are unique. We have our special characteristics, our strength, our areas which we need to work upon. So that I feel really makes human beings very, very interesting. And that is the reason why, when I had first studied about psychology back in class 11, I felt like, wow, this is something I can actually study about and make it as my career. And since then, I have been very passionate about this because, to be honest, for me, psychology is something, it really helps me to understand why a certain person is behaving in a certain way. And that gives a lot of clarity. and especially the fact that we cannot really generalize one meaning which we have for a particular person to everyone else, that really makes this entire subject very intriguing for me. So that's the reason why I'm so passionate about psychology, and that's the reason why I took it up as my career.
Wow, that's a great reason. Studying human behavior, and that's something that you would want to take it ahead. So, how much have you succeeded in understanding human behavior till now?
Okay, so that is a pretty interesting question, firstly. So, to be very honest, like the fact that human beings are so like unique in their own way. So, I personally feel there's no end to it, and like you particular behavior and then something else comes up. So it's like one of the most interesting aspects of psychology. And to be honest, to answer your question, how much have I really been able to do that? I'll say I'm still going in that direction, and my like flow is still going in that direction. And it's not very easy to just complete it in a day or suppose in a year and you're done. You're like a specialist in this area. I personally feel like that's a pretty like hard road to go, and I'm like going forward towards that.
Okay, I wish you luck for all your further endeavors into the field of
Thank you so
psychology
much.
and understanding more about human behavior. Great. So, please tell us more about this meditative art therapy and this form of
Right.
creative art. What is the connection does it have with finding meaning and purpose around a career?
Yes. So first of all, meditative art therapy is a very, very interesting tool, I feel. It offers a framework for us to understand and combine our mind and body in a certain way. And that's how, with our mind and body connection, we are able to develop a tool along with our creativity that helps us to understand what is really going on inside us. Now, this tool was developed by Dr. Roxane Dalio, and I have been one of the most luckiest person, I feel, because I got my training from her.
Okay.
And what really intrigued me when I understood about this tool was that it helps a person to feel calm and to feel peace with herself or suppose themselves when they are doing something. So one of the most essential aspects of meditative art therapy is that we do a kind of a short meditation or an guided imagery or a breathing exercise right before we start creating something. So the moment you close your eyes and you do that, it automatically shuts the outside world and you're like completely within yourself, and you can properly understand what is exactly going on. And that gives a lot of reflection, I feel. So after that, when we start creating our images, that really helps us to understand that what is exactly going on. Why am I feeling stressed? Why is this particular issue like having such a big impact for me? Why am I feeling upset? So all these emotions like automatically start coming up when we are creating that image. So that is something I found really very interesting about meditative art therapy. And to be honest, as in my career, it really helped me bring in a lot of focus, because I feel like stress is something I think most of us human beings, we go through that at some point of our life.
That's
And
right.
especially as working professionals, like there's something like here and there which always goes on. So in those times when you just like can give 1 minute or 2 minutes to yourself and just give yourself a break, pause yourself and to go forward with it, I feel that really helps the person a lot. And to understand what is the root cause of a particular behavior, that is the entire dynamic of psychology and the entire dynamic of meditative art therapy itself. So I feel the combination of these two really helped me to have a more like clear aspect and clear understanding about my career and where do I really want to go. So that was it about my journey with meditative art therapy.
Okay, that's great. So, as you said, the meditation is something that is also involved in this therapy. So, generally, what being a student of psychology, I know that these therapies and meditation is something that generally don't go together. So how about this meditative art therapy, which has included a meditation uh, into this modality?
Right. So that is one of the most unique aspect of meditative art therapy, and thank you, Abhinav, for bringing up that point. Because the aspect of meditation, the aspect of a guided imagery, it really helps a particular person to go down into their inner narratives and to understand that this particular aspect is happening to me. This is why, or this is how I'm feeling right now. So, in a general aspect of a therapy, yes, this is a bit different. This is a tool which can be used in a non-clinical aspect as well, which is why I have also conducted a number of workshops for corporates in group sessions also. So that gives the unique aspect of meditative art therapy. Like if you just look at it in other direction, it just helps a person to calm down.
See, what happens is a lot of times when people think about therapy, it is they generally related to the aspect of some clinical aspect, something wrong or something that is not right with individuals, and that is how they associate with therapy. So how much have you succeeded in telling people that this therapy is not about fixing the problem or solving somebody's problem? It's about going deeper inside of your own self.
Right. So, first and foremost, I would really want to tell my listeners over here that mental health is something it's not just about when you are having a problem, you can go and seek a therapist or a person who is really going to help you. It's
Right.
not just about that. Of course, that's one of the most important aspects, but even if you have any kind of issue, or if you feel yes, it's something I would want to discuss with a person, then I would seriously suggest everyone to go to a mental health practitioner. And now coming to your question about how much have I been able to tell this to people. So with the help of my workshops, with the help of the way I conduct it and the perspectives which I bring, it's not just about a negative thought. Suppose the other day I had this workshop on gratitude, and gratitude is a very very positive emotion, and it's not something just because I'm having a really bad day I can think about gratitude. Even on a very happy day we can think about what we are actually grateful for. So the moment we do all these activities, we get a perspective that we did not really think about this. These are small things which happen in our life and we just take them for granted. So through these activities, people actually understand that yes, it's not a very clinical tool. It can be used in their day-to-day lives. It can be used even suppose when they are working. So it's a very handy tool, to be very honest.
Thank you, Srayasi, for clearing that out. That it's not a clinical tool, it's more of an innate tool that we all have, just that we need to bring it out. So a lot of times I face this challenge telling people about, and especially with the kind of work that I do, I tell people a lot about cultivating self-awareness.
Right.
And people don't generally relate to it and understand it. So could you just maybe throw a little bit of light on when you get involved in this form of therapy and then you cultivate that sense of self-awareness, what happens?
Okay, so Abhinav, that was a very interesting question. Now, about this aspect, I really feel that we need to understand who we are. That's, I think, one of the most important criteria, and that is how we will be able to feel more comfortable in our own shoes. And I personally believe in a very interesting message which I heard the other day from a person, that we need to be our own best friends, right? And
Absolutely.
that's how I feel from these sessions, from these meditative art therapy sessions, the moment or the entire journey which we take to understand more about ourselves, to be aware, that's how like we really help ourselves. We really help ourselves to understand that why do we feel like this, or suppose why do we prefer a person to be in a certain way, why do we want these particular needs to be fulfilled. And that really helps us to feel more comfortable and to be honest, more independent, and feel more self-aware about ourselves. So that's my answer to your question, Abhinav. And even suppose with the tools which we all practice in NLP and in our other fields, like the moment we start understanding that why we are feeling like this, like why do we really need to have a certain thing in a certain aspect, that really helps us to get a lot of clarity, I feel.
Absolutely, precisely. So thank you, Srayasi, for actually throwing light on that. So how intuitive is this process?
Okay, so the most interesting aspect about this entire process is that it is about all about your intuitions. Like your intuition come in the foreplay when you're working with the tool. So, as I had mentioned earlier, that one of the most important aspect of the tool is that we need to do a breathing exercise.
Right.
And after the breathing exercise is done, we start creating whatever is coming in our mind. So we really don't have a reference point. We don't see at something and then make it. So whatever you create, it's coming directly from your intuition, and the end point, the end artwork is actually directly from your intuitive artwork. That's what we call it. Whenever we are using this tool, the artwork is something, a direct product of our intuitions.
Right. And how I mean, how is this different from any regular art session? You when you go to a regular art session, you get to draw a lot of things. How different it is from that session?
Right. So it's, to be honest, very different, because in a regular art session, first and foremost, uh, it's just a class where a person comes in and they learn certain art techniques. But over here, it's not that. First and foremost, when we conduct this tool, it's done in a very free space. There's no judgment. Even suppose you're a person, personally, if you feel that you're a very bad artist, it does not matter. You do not need to have an art experience. You can just directly draw whatever is coming in your mind, and that's the beauty of this tool. So, first of all, no expertise is required. Second of all, whatever you're going to share with me in any of our sessions, be it in a one-on-one sessions or in a group session, any of it, it's going to be just in our room. So a lot of confidentiality is mentioned, and we really take that very seriously. There's no amount of judgment or no amount of information which goes out of the room. So because it is a tool which as a psychologist I practice, so I keep this confidentiality aspect, I give it a lot of importance. And I don't think that's something which you have in an art class, because it's more of a teacher-student relationship in a regular art class.
Okay. That sounds great, because I feel safe tomorrow if I attend and I know my art skills are not really good. So I would not be judged upon the way I would draw anything, right?
Definitely, and that's the beauty, because even suppose a person who is a very senior person or a very young kid, anybody can experience this tool, and you honestly don't have to make anything perfect. So I even have a page on Instagram, and over there, whenever I post my artwork, like I make sure to mention that my work is not something that I'm showing. It's not perfect at all. There's going to be so many like criticisms I'm going to receive if I just show it to somebody. But that's how I feel like I feel at peace when I create those, and I don't have to think about being a perfectionist. I just create it, and that's how like my entire emotion and how I really feel about a particular aspect just keeps on coming.
Great. That sounds, music to my ears. When you say that, it's not about perfection, because from time to time, I think I suffer from this perfectionist syndrome, and I feel that whatever I'm doing has to be perfect or it should not come out. And I think a lot of other people also feel the same, and that's when I believe taking that first step becomes very, very challenging and very difficult for people, which has a lot of scope for improvement and learning. So in this form of therapy, I get to do breathing exercise, I get to do meditation, I get to draw the artwork. What else do I need to do here? Is there anything else that I am required to be doing, and how much time do I need for all of this?
Okay, so first and foremost, another very important aspect of meditative art therapy is that after drawing, that's not the end of the work. Meditation done, drawing done, but that's not the end of the process. The most important process is that we get to talk to our drawings, we get to have a dialogue with them. And that's how, Carl Jung had done a lot of research in art therapy, and he had mentioned that art is something which really helps us to go deep down within ourselves and to have an inner dialogue. And that's what we do in the third phase of meditative art therapy. When we look at our drawings, when we look at those images, we understand, okay, I did not expect I would have colored this particular area blue, but I did it. Why did I do it? So it really makes you think the moment you look at the picture. And that is one of the most crucial and the third aspect of meditative art therapy. It helps you to understand why I did this. It helps you to talk to yourself. Okay. So one of the most important aspects which I practice in this tool is that I use a bit of person-centric approach, and what happens is that I just guide the participant. I just guide the individual to do step 1, step 2, step 3. But the person has the entire room to talk to. So they just keep on talking whatever their feeling is. There's, as I mentioned earlier, like it's a non-judgmental space, and you're free to share whatever is coming to your mind. And that is something I focus upon when I practice this tool with my people, be it in a one-on-one session or be it in a group session. So that is something which I do. And if you talk about how much time it requires, to be very honest, I will not give it any 5 minutes or 10 minutes time period, because the moment you look at your drawing and you start talking, I don't think there should be any boundary to it. Right. You just look at it and just keep on understanding why is it happening. And a lot of times for us, it becomes very intimidating that I have to share what is going on. Do I really understand? Whatever am I seeing, is that right? Or do I need to work upon it more? So a lot of issues, a lot of barriers automatically comes in our mind. So keeping it as a boundary level that this much time is required, it's going to be just an obstruction to the entire process flow.
Okay. What are the recommended tools and materials that you generally use in this exercise?
So there is not any specific tool, like it has to be there in all my sessions. It completely depends upon what is available. But I highly recommend having colors, because colors says a lot about a person. It says a lot about what you're feeling exactly. It has a lot to do with our emotions. So the moment, suppose I just take a white sheet of paper and I just color it with a blue shade, yellow shade, red shade, any of it, it automatically helps me to understand that this is the particular feeling I'm associating with, suppose anger, happiness, anything of that sort. So colors are something which I highly recommend to use during this process. And at the same time, you just need, suppose, a pencil, paper, and that's it. I don't recommend using eraser, because it just like as I mentioned, the moment you erase something, it just reminds you that this has to be perfect.
That's right.
So when you're not using eraser, it just helps you to be in the flow and it becomes more natural. So these are my highly recommended tools for this process.
That's very interesting. Eraser is a metaphor of perfection, and that's something that we do not aspire for in this exercise.
Right, absolutely.
Is there a number of sessions that you would recommend to somebody who's seeking some advice, or who's seeking this therapy, or who's taking this therapy?
Right. So, in my one-to-one sessions, first and foremost, I do a 15 minutes discovery call, and that is something I do not charge for. So, in the discovery call, I try to understand what is your actual intention, why have you come for this tool. So, those are some things we discuss upon, and depending upon the issue, when we start our first session, at least I would recommend to have 2 to 3 sessions, and then
Okay.
depending upon how much you would want to go forward with that, that's completely dependent upon whatever we are discussing upon. Just coming for one particular session, that makes things little difficult, because like one session actually goes in for me to understand who you are as a person, and you all also need some time to be comfortable with me, right? Like, why
Right.
will you suddenly just come and start telling all your emotions and your issues to me? So you also
That's
need to
right.
be comfortable. So that's why it completely depends upon the person, like how many sessions they would want to take. But I would say at least 2 to 3 sessions is highly recommended.
All right. So how does this specifically help an individual who's seeking a career change, in the middle of a transition at work, maybe working in a company and wanting to be an entrepreneur, or maybe wanting to create something of his or her own? So how does this work for them, or maybe seeking a career change for themselves?
Right. So the beauty of the tool is that there are a lot of areas in which we can use this tool, just as you have mentioned about a career change related issue. So what happens is that there are times when we are confused that yes, we want a career change, we are not happy in our job, but what do we really want? What is the ideal situation which is going on in our head? We are not very clear about those things. So the moment you use this tool, the moment you come for the session, is going to help you to understand that this is something I would want to see myself achieve in the next, suppose 2 years, 3 years, anything of that sort. So what it does is that it just clears your mind, and it gives you some time to think that these are certain things I would want to achieve in my career. And how do we do that? We create a certain path. So it is an entire process which we can go through with the help of this meditative art therapy tool.
That's wonderful. So people know more about themselves. What are their choices through this exercise, and then they can apply that wisdom and sense of awareness into the kind of work that they want to do.
Right, absolutely, absolutely.
How can this tool, how meditative art therapy can increase meaning and purpose in somebody's work?
Right. So, first and foremost, in order to seek meaning in our work life, I believe that we need to understand more about ourselves, and that is the entire theme about this particular tool. So what this tool is going to help you do is that it will help you enhance your self-confidence. It will help you to handle criticisms, to develop a greater sense of problem solving, to understand that what are the emotions and how do I handle them, to connect your mind and your body when you're going through a challenging period. And most importantly, it will help you to relax and deal with the stressful situations, the stressors in your life. So there are many aspects, there are many areas in which meditative art therapy can help. And that's what, like, the moment you understand more about yourself, like what kind of a career you seek, what kind of a professional you would want to be, how would you really want to start your work on, suppose, a Monday morning, what are the things you need to arrange. So all these things, it will start falling into place. So that's how, suppose, even in a time management kind of a skill, that's something also, it will really help. The moment you understand that these are certain things I would want to be in check when I start my day. So these are areas in which meditative art therapy can really help a person bring in more meaning to their work life, bring in more clarity in their professional career, and seek a better working life.
Right. That's right. Thank you for that. Is meditative art therapy the only form of art therapy, or are there other forms of art therapies too?
Yes, definitely there are many other forms of art therapy. Although, because it is a very, like, the term art is involved in this particular field, so a lot of people don't really seek this therapy tool, because they have this fear that my drawing is going to be judged, and that is one of the biggest challenge which we also face when we use this tool, because
Mhm.
people are like, what if I draw this and then they will get a reminder that somebody had criticized them, and then they
Right.
will just stop making it. So there are many different forms of art therapy. There are many researches also going on, but yes, uh, to be honest, compared to other forms of therapy, it's not very popular.
Mhm.
But yes, it's trying to get into the flow with the new generation, with the new world, and how things are moving with the development of mental health practitioners.
Right. Right. What kind of clients do you get to serve?
So I mainly work with working professionals as well as college students. So adults of any age, like, I am free to work with them, and it, like, to be honest, all you need to do when going through this entire process is just, like, believe in the process, and that's what
Mhm.
we do when we meet up in our initial sessions. So to be honest, like, age is not that kind of a barrier when you are practicing this tool, because as I mentioned, you do not
Right.
need to be uh, an art professional to go through these exercises and to go through these tools. So all has to depend upon the relationship you are going to establish with me, and how we are going to work in each and every session.
How can people measure their results when they attend your sessions? Let's say you've recommended them 3 sessions. Do they get to see any measurable results in what they are trying to seek the therapy for?
Right. So that is a very interesting question, Abhinav. And the beauty, what I had mentioned earlier, like, the person understands what are the changes going on by doing it by themselves. So it's not that my sessions are suppose done on each and every day in a week. It's not like that. It's something, suppose after a break we can meet again. So what really happens in this particular break is that the person, the individual, understands that yes, these are the places where this message has really helped me. I had behaved in a certain way in the past, and this is how I can be like, better when I'm behaving with a person in the future. So that's what happens in the break. So if you talk about a measurable tool, I do not use any measurable tool. It's more about qualitative and what the person is telling me. If the person is happy, if the person is understanding that yes, these are the areas I have been successfully been able to work upon, it's the best answer for me.
So great. What you're telling, Srayasi, is it's less about the measurable impact. This particular tool is more subjective in nature, and because it is less about technique and more about letting go and just entering into the experience, right?
Right.
What does it tell about our emotions?
that is another beautiful aspect of meditative art therapy. So what it does is that the moment we are done with our exercise and we go to the second aspect of making the image, what happens is that while creating each and every stroke, we understand that, oh my god, this is my happy place, this is the time I had last felt so happy. This is
Yeah.
the childhood days, or suppose a particular like first day at work, or suppose anything it can be. This is how my work life has turned out to be. So what happens is that the moment you are making those drawings, you're making those images, it helps you to understand that, okay, this is what I am feeling. This is what, suppose I'm feeling anger, I'm feeling a sense of sadness, I'm feeling really upset to even make this image. It's getting very difficult for me. So that's what happens. Like when you really make something right in front of your eyes, when that aspect is visible to you, you understand that this emotion is really difficult for me to accept. This
Right.
issue is really difficult for me to work upon. So that is a very important aspect of meditative art therapy tool, that it gives you the visual image. And the moment you start talking to the image, the moment you have that dialogue with the image, that's when you understand that this was one of the most happiest day or one of the most painful day in my life, and this is how it turned out to be. So that is what meditative art therapy tells you. It gives you the direct emotions when you're having that inner dialogue. All the unconscious messages, all the inner narratives comes directly into the picture, and you have to stand face to face and face what has actually happened, and have like bring yourself to peace to what has happened and accept it the way it has happened.
And then it quickly becomes the place of serenity for them.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely.
Should there always be some kind of an aspiration people have? What kind of as you talked about the clients, do they always have something in their mind that they want to achieve, and that is when they approach a meditative art session? Or it could be otherwise, that they just want to come and enjoy and have that sense of flow?
Right. So that was again a very interesting question. So what happens is that, yes, of course, I get people who are very clear that this is the issue I want to focus upon. There are people who are very clear about their problem, and this is the solution I want to go forward to and work upon. And
Right.
there are people who are not sure, like we just want to understand what this is about, what this tool really does, and they come for the session and they have a look at the session, and if it is something that is matching with their interest level, with their belief system, then that is something they go forward with it. And there are also times when during the session they understand that, okay, we did not have any objective in our mind, but this is something has been going on in my head for a very long time, and it just came out when I was drawing this.
Right.
So a lot of reflections happen during the session also. So it's not necessary that you need to have a particular objective, a goal to experience this. If you're someone that you just want to understand what is this tool all about, how do we actually experience this, what are the guided imageries which we need to follow, you're free to like come and have a look at these sessions.
Or I like meditation, for that matter.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Great. I tell you why I asked this question is because I think my plenty of times in my career, I did not have a vision, did not have a focus for myself. So I knew that there was something missing, but I did not know that what was missing, and nor did I make any efforts to find out at that point of time. So that's why. So just in case if somebody's feeling pressured or somebody's not enjoying their work, they can simply just take their time off and come and enjoy and have that sense of enjoyment within this therapy session, and then they can go back more fulfilled, thinking that they have spent time in a good manner, and then they
Right.
probably have taken steps to cultivate their self-awareness, which could be an added bonus for them. Right.
Absolutely true. And the aspect is that because my settings are more of a non-clinical basis, so it does not necessarily have to be a problem. You can just have a normal day, you like day to day, whatever is going on, and you can just like feel free to like drop in and understand what this tool is all about. It's like how we say that every person should go for a counseling session, because the moment we start talking to a person or the moment we start talking to ourselves, automatically a lot of things come out which we did not
Right.
really intentionally think about. They just keep coming. So that's what happens. Just like have a look at the session, have a look at the tool, and if it is something that is related to your belief system, then I would highly recommend to go forward with it.
So during the therapy sessions, you carry out the meditations and then the breathing exercises and the artwork, the drawings. So have you ever had any experience where people looked at their drawings and they feel they're filled with some emotions, like maybe they feel sad, they feel overwhelmed, they feel happy, they feel joyful? Have you experienced any of that?
Yes, so that is a very interesting aspect that you've brought in forward. So, as I was mentioning, that many of the times people are not aware that something is going on in their mind. So, the moment they start having that dialogue with the image, there have
Right.
been certain periods of time, certain situations when they have that revelation that this event had happened in my life. This event is the reason why I'm feeling this way. This event is the reason why I'm not able to face this person anymore. And the moment they share this, automatically a lot of emotions come in the picture, and they realize that this is an area I would really want to work upon. This is something I would want to discuss with this person I'm having issue with. So
Right.
the drawings, the images, it gives a number of emotions to the people. It can be something related to fear. They were fearful of a particular object or a particular
Right.
situation which they had experienced before, and the moment the picture comes in front of their eyes, they realize that it's not that big of a deal. I can definitely work on this situation. I can definitely work and conquer this moment and go forward in life with my learning. And that's what happens when you have a dialogue with the images. You go through a number of emotions, be it fear, sadness, happiness, and when you create them, what happens is that you know that it's not a permanent thing. The moment you keep the drawing aside, it will go aside. You do not have to carry on with it with the rest of the day. If you want to go back to your happy place, you can always go back if you just like remember those moments. So they like understand the feeling that everything is not permanent, and whatever you're feeling, this will also go away once you start working upon it. And that makes people like more accepting of themselves, and they understand that this is what I really want to have in my life. This is the feeling I would want to work upon.
Right. Like this too shall pass.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So Shreyasi, how can you give our viewers and listeners a bit of a taste of what this therapy is all about?
Right. Abhinav, I'm going to share a very quick and an interesting exercise with our listeners today. So, suppose like it's going to be a very easy exercise, trust me. And yes, there are going to be some thoughts that how am I going to create an image, or suppose when was the last time did I even make something, when I was in class 5 or class 6. But yes, it's absolutely okay if you're feeling those things. When you're doing this activity, it's going to be a very easy one, so just believe that nobody else is seeing it, it's just with yourself. It's an activity which you're just doing to understand what you really want, so it's more about just understanding the place where you're right now. So just have those thoughts in your head and we'll go forward with the activity. So for this activity, of course, we need a white sheet of paper and some colors if you have them, and a pen. It can be a black pen or anything. So just have those handy with you. So in this exercise, when you're doing this, first and foremost, as we have been discussing in this entire session, you need to give yourself a break, a pause. So for that, what we will do is that just take a moment, close your doors, just be in your room, take your materials that you need, and then just for a moment, just be with yourself and just be with the way you are right now. Let all the thoughts come up. If there's something you're facing, be it with your career related issue, it's absolutely fine. Just think about it. Think about what are the issues you're facing in your career, what are the aspirations you have in your career. So think about that, because this activity is going to specifically focus on our career. So
Right.
what I would want you all to do is that just pause and think about everything that is going on in your mind. Let all the thoughts pass by. And as you're doing this, just keep on breathing in and breathing out. Just keep focusing on that. And then, whenever you're ready, there does not have to be any time limit. Whenever you're ready, take your white sheet of paper and create two circles. The outer circle, you need to write with some words. You have to write down whatever your current career looks like. So writing is something easy, right? We can all do that, I think. So be it in any language, whichever language you're comfortable with, keep writing in the outer circle what your current career is looking like. Or if there is any particular issue which you're facing in your career, any particular project you're not able to complete, then keep writing what is the project all about, why is it not happening, what is the deadline, whatever is related to your current issue in your career. Keep writing that. When you're done, color that outer circle where you have written these words. It can be any color, and I'm sure coloring is something which we have really enjoyed as a kid, right? And it is not at all threatening. It's not at all threatening. You can just color whatever you feel like.
Yeah, though I did not like the outcome.
Absolutely. But it's like you do not have to think about anything right now at this stage. Just pick up any color that is attracting to you and just keep coloring the outer circle. When you're done, now focus on the inner circle and write how would you want your ideal career to be. Or suppose when this particular project is done, what is going to be the outcome? How are people going to appreciate you? Just keep writing them. It can be in 1 word, 2 words, it can be long sentences, whatever you're comfortable with. Keep writing them in the inner circle. How the future will look like when your problem will get solved in your job, or what would you want your ideal career to be like. When you're done, again choose another color and color that. And I'm again telling to my listeners that you do not have to think that what color is going to be perfect for this circle. Just color whatever you're feeling like. So when you're done with this, how much time you're going to take, that's completely upon you. You're done with it. You have created your image. Then just see how is your future self, what is your future self actually telling you? How can your issue be solved? What is your ideal career looking like? And just ask yourself some questions that what can I do to achieve that? What are the obstacles which I need to cross in order to achieve that? And one of the most important thing when you're asking those questions, remember that you are the hero to your story. So whatever you're doing, whatever you're going to give your narration to, you have the power to control it. If you give the power to someone else, then chances are there then you will feel really demotivated. Like just when a person will give me a positive regard, only then will I be able to do that. That is not going to help your career in any way, I feel. The moment you will understand that all is in your hand, the moment you will understand that you can write your future the way you would want to, you would give a lot of power to yourself. So when you're asking yourself those questions, just understand how much power you're giving to yourself. And definitely with this exercise, you will have some amount of reflection. So just see how this exercise really feels like, and for surely like inform us how this exercise is for you guys if you ever try, because it's a very quick and an easy tool. You do not again have to be an artist, just colors, some words, pen, that's all.
Okay, that's great. That's great. There's a lot of work, and there's a lot of self-work that needs to be done. And I think
Yes,
this is one of the ways through which we can actually spend time most productively, rather than
right,
catching up with other things in life, which sort of always keeps our mind preoccupied.
right,
So this will be a
absolutely.
bit of a me time, right?
Yes, yes. And that's what I think this tool is all about. It just gives you a lot of me time. And most importantly, it helps you to understand what is the root cause. And the root cause does not have to be necessarily something emotional. Even this tool, like I have had a number of sessions where people have had some physical issues. There have been
Right.
physical pain, there has been headache or any of that sort, and with this tool they have been able to understand what is causing those headaches. They have been able to identify the root cause. So this tool is all about that. It's about a process. It's about a process of knowing yourself. That's the journey.
Great. Thank you very much, Srayasi Ghosh. Just in case some of our listeners are thinking about, getting into meditative art therapy and wanting to experience it, where can they find you?
So if that happens, I would be really happy. So first and foremost, our listeners can find me on LinkedIn with my name, and I'll just spell it out for my listeners for their convenience. It's Srayasi and Ghosh, Ghosh, Srayasi Ghosh. So you can find me on LinkedIn, and we can connect over there. And I also have an official Instagram page. My handle is mindful of art. So it's mind underscore full of underscore art. So, if my listeners would want to know anything, be it about meditative art therapy or even about industrial psychology, then I would be happy to connect with them and we can take things forward. And really looking forward to connecting with all of you guys out there. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Srayasi. I'll share your details in my show notes as well, so people will have access to it also.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you, Srayasi. It was really refreshing to have you in the session and have you talked about meditative art therapy. We never knew that there are few things that we could combine with meditation, and then we can get to know more about ourselves, and something more productive can come out from these sessions. So thank you so much
Right.
for that.
Right. And Abhinav, thank you for having me in your show. It was really a wonderful experience for me to have this conversation with you. And I would just want our listeners to remember this, that art is one of the most interesting and one of the most purest aspect of it all. So it's like a gateway to our inner mind. So it's a very interesting tool. The entire process is something I have myself experienced when I was taking my lessons from my trainer. So I have gone through the entire journey and it has brought a lot of insightful information about myself. So it's something I would highly recommend whenever, or if our viewers are really interested, then they can really go forward with it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so, this is it for today. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I really hope that you take time, reflect, and walk away with something meaningful from this episode. Let me know if there was any key insight that you got. You could share it on my website, which is findingmeaningatwork.in. The link is in the description below. Request you guys to please subscribe and give a thumbs up as well. And just in case if you find it meaningful and helpful for other people, please share it as well. Your subscribing and your liking the video will act as a fuel for me to bring more such interesting topics. You were listening to Abhinav, your career partner, and remember, it's all about you.